You're listening to We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation, and I'm your host, Crystal Johnson. We are a community of Black women demanding our collective liberation through radically soft living. Each week, we share the stories of Black women who have set themselves free from the expectations of others and are living on their own terms.
Welcome to another episode of We Ain't Dying for This, a Black woman's guide to liberation. And on this show, we feature Black women who have freed themselves from the expectations of others and are living life on their own terms. My name is Crystal Johnson. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a retreat host and founder of Design Your Soft Life. And I help Black women who are saving the world to save themselves first. And when I say Black women who are saving the world, there are a lot of us doing a lot of different things, obviously. But my first love in terms of Black women who I support are Black women who are working in the DEI space, Black women who are doing social impact work, Black women who are community activists. And even if you're a Black woman who is breaking generational curses in your family, you're a Black woman that I'm speaking to and that I serve. So in my work, I do host intimate luxury retreats for Black women, and they've been said to be reminiscent of Wakanda. And what I found is that when you are in a bubble of Black women, you are liberated in a way and freed in a way that's very different from when you're around everybody else. So when you're around just Black women who really get you, you're able to disarm yourself and really show up as you are. So our next retreat is coming up in August, from August 11th through August 15th. We're going to Cartagena, Colombia, and we are going to be immersing ourselves in Afro-Colombian culture. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to send me a DM on LinkedIn or book a call with me, and I'll give you more information about that opportunity. So in terms of this live, I launched it because I feel like there's a lot of conversation going on right now about liberation. And sometimes that conversation is very binary. It's either this or it's that. So I created this show to really help people to understand that liberation looks different for everyone. And this week, we're talking about generational wealth as liberation. So if you haven't already, before I get into introducing our featured speaker today, please show us some love by reacting to the live, dropping in the chat where you're watching from, and sharing with another Black woman that you think might benefit from this conversation. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. See some comments in the chat. Okay, people can see us. Amazing, great, thank you. All right, so today we are talking to Samitria Copeland about generational wealth, and that's Wellth, Wellth, as liberation. So welcome to the show, Samitria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for agreeing to be here. So for everyone who hasn't met Samitria yet, or you're not following her on LinkedIn, please give her a follow on LinkedIn or on Instagram, Facebook, wherever it is that you're watching. Samitria is the founder of She's a Creator, a health and wellness business based in the growing and vibrant city of Charlotte, North Carolina. She dedicates herself to helping busy women of faith build generational wealth by fostering a more balanced and holistic life. Rooted in her faith, Samitria incorporates spirituality and faith-based strategies into her coaching practice, believing that true well-being involves nurturing the soul alongside nourishing the body. Her commitment is to empower women globally, advocating for holistic living and fostering a stronger self-connection. So I'm excited to get into this conversation. And my first question for you, which is probably a question that everyone is probably wondering, is what is generational wealth and how does it transform the lives of the women that you serve?
Yes. So generational wealth, when I thought about it, people always think about the money, right? They're always concerned about assets. And I'm like, I started noticing over the pandemic that nobody was really caring about their health and wellness until the pandemic. And so, as we looked at the different things and the different statistics about how healthier people were thriving through the pandemic a lot better, I was like, man, like, as far as our health and our wellness, like, we should be in a better space. So, generational wealth for me is, what are we passing down nutrition wise? What are we passing down mentally? What are we passing down spiritually? Because as a person who is in therapy myself now, I started realizing that there's a lot of unpacking that we have sometimes that we don't even realize. So, generational wealth is passing down something of value, which comes in holistically, mentally, spiritually, and physically, that my kids will sustain. My kids will sustain. They will have a healthy life, and not just in the space of finances.
Yeah. Also, each one teach one.
Yes.
I mean, if you free one person, like, you can free so many other people.
Absolutely.
So I really love this. Can you talk a little bit about, because I know we could probably talk about all the facets of generational wealth for hours. We don't got a lot of time. We got 30 minutes. So what I want to hone in on specifically today is around the nutrition piece. And I personally grew up in the South, and I think you also grew up in the South.
Did.
And one of the things I know for certain is that my mama never looked at a label. She had the recipes in her head, and she just was cooking to taste. And she was an amazing, she was an amazing cook. She put her soul and her foot into everything that she cooked. So can you tell us a little bit more about growing up in the South and the role that nutrition plays in building generational wealth for your clients? Let's dive into nutrition.
Absolutely. And first of all, I could definitely resonate because my mom doesn't have a recipe written out anywhere. Neither did my grandmother. I still today, even in my healthy space, cook to taste. I eyeball measure. But yeah, so thinking about my childhood, like you said, we didn't look at any labels. We pretty much ate what we want. The only time I think it was like really a no was like, hey, you're getting ready to eat dinner, or it's time, getting close to time for bed, so no, you can't have junk food then. But any other space, it's go for it. There are a lot of family gatherings, there's holidays, grandma's always cooking cakes. My grandmother was a baker. So, we ate what we wanted. We ate for comfort, we ate for love. And there was really no no's as to what what you were eating, as long as it was a well-balanced meal. I can always say that my mother gave us well-balanced meals. She introduced us to being in the country. I was born and raised in a small, tiny little town called Tyner, North Carolina, close to Edenton and Elizabeth City. So we had crops around us, and we had plenty of vegetables. We had corn, string beans, sweet potatoes. So we had our vegetables in there, but we were going to have smothered pork chop and barbecue chicken and, candy yams, all those good things. And I think now, as a 34-year-old woman, that, once you cross over to 30, it's a whole different life. And I think as I've crossed over into that space, I'm starting to see some of those issues that have been passed down based on what I ate back then, the high blood pressure, the arthritis, different things like that. And so I'm just wondering, I've sat and wondered if I had eaten a little bit better, if I had if my parents watched labels like I watch labels now when I am feeding my niece, would I have bypassed some of these things? Not only that, how did it, the food impact us mentally? Because it is, gut health is a thing. And so it's like, while we may, oh, you're sad, here you go, here's a snack, here's a cookie, here's some chips or something. What if it had been, okay, let's talk about your feelings.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? What's going on with you? But, that's not a space that I ever hold my parents or my grandparents too, because that's not something they had to really, we grew up in that world where it's, what happens here stays here.
Mm-hmm.
So now seeing the benefits of food and how it can, help you think clearly, like how would I have performed in school? I mean, I was a great student, but would I have performed better? Would I have had clearer thoughts? So it's absolutely an important space, especially now. Like I go pick up my niece some days and they're giving them their snack and they're giving these kids like goldfish on top of cookies, on top of some sugary drink. Now you're coming home and you're all over the place. And it's like, all right, if they're doing this, when I pick them up at the end of the day, what are they giving them in school during the day? So those are just some things that I've noticed compared to my childhood.
Yeah, that is interesting that you talk about how food can impact our mood. It impacts the ways that we interact, like our ability to think clearly. And that's something that we generally never heard growing up. What we would hear is that the things that impact your mood and impact the way that you interact with others, drugs, alcohol, like those are the two things.
Right.
And we even realize, and some people still don't realize, that the food that you put into your body is really impacting the way that you show up every day.
Sugar
And
is the worst drug.
it's wild. It's wild. So I'm gonna share just like a really quick story really quick, because you said something. Well, when we started talking about nutrition, I thought about like my own experiences. And last year, well, let's just say growing up, only time you went to the doctor is when you were sick, like sick to the point where the ginger ale and the crackers could solve the Robitussin or whatever it is that your parents was given.
We're going to talk about
it. If that wouldn't solve it, and laying down and taking a nap wasn't going to solve it, then that's the only time you really ever went to the doctor. I personally, and my parents did not have insurance for me. And like you said, I don't blame them for that. Like they had what they had available, the resources they had available to them. They did what they could do.
Right.
But recently, probably about a little over a year ago, I went in for a checkup. And I had been eating ice a lot. And people will always say, well, if you eat ice, then your iron's low. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I got low iron, but I didn't really think about how is that really going to impact me in the long run. Mm-hmm. And what I learned is that you can literally die from having low iron. And I had no idea. And mine was very low, like single digit hemoglobin, very low.
Yes.
And what I also learned about was vitamin D, and how vitamin D deficiency, which is something that a lot of Black women have, in addition to low iron, really shows up and manifests as depression. Like you're tired all the time, you're sleepy, you don't want to be, you don't want to interact with others, maybe you don't want to leave the house, you don't want to get dressed. All of those things, those deficiencies, are impacting the ways in which you show up. They're impacting your health. And again, they can kill you. And you wouldn't know that just from hearing people say, well, you got low iron, because they really don't go into detail about what does that actually mean. Right. So whenever I see a Black woman specifically eating a bunch of ice, I'm like, girl, do you have low iron? And she'll be like, yeah, the doctor told me I had low iron like 10 years ago. And I'm like, girl, you need to take some iron. So, I mean, I personally take Black girl vitamins. They have been very helpful to me. I am not a doctor, not a physician. That's just something that I personally take that has really helped me over the last year and a half or so, just to feel more present, for my mind to feel more clear. And I don't even, as someone who used to crave ice all the time, I don't even eat ice anymore. There's even times where I don't even put ice inside of my drink because my iron is at a healthy level.
Right. No, listen, I completely resonate. That is definitely an issue that I have struggled with. And we go through our girly things, and so that is definitely one of the reasons why. And low iron, it comes with your hair starts to get frail, so does your nails. Yeah, like you said, I remember like when I first started realizing as an adult that it was something that I was struggling. Like, why am I laying on the like I'm laying on the floor? Like I can't get up. Like what is going on? And like you said, going to the doctor, they tell you these things, and then they're like, hey, let me give you a pill. And so I got to the space, which is one of the reasons why I got into health and wellness, where like, no, I don't want to take a pill. I saw my parents take pills, my grandparents. I don't want to take pills all my life. Like I want to naturally do something that is not going to cause, be a cause and effect for something else. So I started doing research on how can I help my body? How can I fix this thing or make it better without? And that is one of the ways I started learning that food is medicine. What you put in your body will it will show up for you, just like putting gas in your tank. It's going to make your car run. Putting good food in your body is going to make everything that is wrong in your body, it's going to turn it around. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to heal every illness, but it absolutely will help to make a transition to a better space for you.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned something else. I want to say that your nails, like when your iron is low, like my nails used to peel back at the ankle. I used to have so many hangnails because my iron was so low. And now, as you can see, I don't have that peeling back anymore. It healed very well after making sure that my iron was at a healthy level. So that's just another thing, folks, if you're listening, and that's another way that it manifests, that you might know that you may have low iron and you may want to go speak to your doctor.
Right.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one more thing. So even, like when it comes to some of the issues that we have, going on with our body, like even when we were younger, you were talking about the deficiencies and everything. When we are eating some of these foods, when we're eating, so like you said, I remember going to Sonic's, and what else did they have? Like going to 7-Eleven, for all the people who are in the 7-Eleven areas, getting Slurpees and stuff, like, oh, I need this. I need one every day. These type of foods, and you're consuming these type of things, you don't even realize that you have deficiencies. And it's hard because you're eating things that you like, right? You're eating things that make you feel good. So it's hard for you to really know that, okay, my body is telling me something, because your body will talk to you. It will tell you what it needs. It will tell you that something is not right. So that is another reason why it's very important to be self-aware of what you eat and what you're consuming.
So what are some changes that folks can implement to support fostering better nutrition for themselves?
So everybody, when you think about being healthy, first of all, people think about salads. Salads are not just the one healthy thing.
You're a rabbit. If you're healthy, you gotta be a rabbit.
That does not make you healthy because you ate a salad. Because I've went to several places and seen people get salads, and they put so many items on the salad that it's not even a salad anymore. So one thing I like to say is you don't have to you don't have to get rid of everything that you're currently eating, right? Because people like to think, oh, if I take this away, I'll lose weight. If I take this away, I'll feel better. Sometimes it's just if you change it up. So for instance, burgers, right? If you like a burger is your favorite thing. There are so many ways to do a burger. There are impossible burgers. They're plant-based burgers. So you have impossible burgers, beyond burgers, you have black bean burgers, lentil burgers. Like you have burgers that you can make out of so many other things aside from, just a regular meat. Or you have turkey. Just maybe not taking in those very fatty meats. Like maybe you don't do beef, or maybe you do a more lean meat like bison. Trying out different things and just seeing what your palate likes and how your body responds to it. Or maybe if you get your burger, maybe you don't fill it up with a million things. Maybe you throw your veggies on your burger, put some lettuce and tomato up there. So it's about how you dress it up. It's about how you how you make it look, how you make it taste. Sometimes we don't need all those condiments. You don't need all the condiments on the on the condiment aisle on that burger. So sometimes it's just about changing items out. I'm a big label reader. I'm a big ingredient reader. When I go to restaurants can absolutely change anything you need them to change. They like to act like they can't, but they can. I've worked in a restaurant. So you might say, all right, I want this, again, this burger, but I want it this way with this item. They can do that. Or for all my Starbucks lovers, I know we got some in this chat. I know we do. I'm not a big Starbucks fan, but when I do have Starbucks, I absolutely can have it. I'm lactose intolerant. I right now I am fully plant-based, but I usually do a 80-20 plant-based. And so when I go to Starbucks, I'm looking for, all right, this is what I want, but I need you to change it over to plant-based milk. I need you to take a few of those pumps of syrup out because I don't need all of that. Or maybe I don't use sugar and maybe I use stevia or agave or honey or something like that. So it's just using a better ingredient. Not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we talk about just going all in and just saying, well, you can't have this and you can't have that, we lose the ability to be more consistent. So what role does consistency play in even making sure that we're supporting better nutrition?
Consistency definitely plays a big role, and I am a testament of that. So a lot of people like to do like crash diets. They like to change things. I'm just going to take this sugar out for a month and see what it does. It takes 90 days to really start to see the benefits of a change. And that's no matter how you're doing it. That's whether it's nutrition or whether it's, working out or you're trying to create a new habit. Like it really takes some time. So I say, bring your question back one more time.
What role does consistency play?
Consistency, yes.
Why it's important, yeah.
So I say you have to give things, a little bit of time to actually change. For me, even with, this life that I'm doing as far as eating plant-based, when I started having some of those illnesses and I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this. I got to figure out how to make me better. I was doing a whole bunch of different things. Like this month I'm doing this week I'm doing this. My family would be like, so what are you eating today? What are we doing this week? And so I had to stop and I was like, you know what? How about this? How about I try and see for 30 days how I feel when I change this item. So like I took out meat for a month. My skin, first of all, aside from feeling clear, and again, this is just my testament. I'm not telling everybody to go plant-based. I'm not telling everybody to cut out meat. But my testament is my skin looked amazing. I felt so clear. I felt lighter. I felt like, when usually they talk about the midday slump, I didn't have a midday slump. And so I'm like, okay, all right, I like how this feels. Let's go another month and see what changes with this next month. So like now I'm in my second month, almost through the end of my second month of being completely plant-based, completely vegan. My endurance is up. I've been doing a walking challenge with my church group, and literally I've walked every day for what's today? The 22nd? For 22 days, I walked almost 4 miles. So my endurance is higher. So I'm like, okay, what is it going to look like for me next month? So consistency plays a big role in actually seeing if things actually work for you, because yeah, sometimes things don't work for you, but you have to give it a little bit of time to kind of see.
Yeah, definitely. I myself have been a person who is doing a bunch of different things at a time. And it's like, you don't even know what thing is actually helping you or if it's even helping you at all because you're trying to try all the things.
Right.
Blame social media for that because we see these things happening, everyone benefiting from different stuff. And we're like, oh, let me try this. Let me add this on. Let me do this. Let me do that. And it's just kind of like, girl, first of all, you're doing too much. And then second, you're not even being consistent for long enough to even know if it's actually working.
Right.
So I love the message of just making sure that you aren't taking everything away from yourself. How can you make small changes in order to build generational wealth, especially from a nutritional perspective? How do you make small changes to actually get there?
Right. Because essentially when you become consistent for yourself, people will start seeing that. Like, it took a while. Consistency is important in this space because it took a while for me to really get people on board with what the changes I was making for myself. Right. Being raised in the South, being raised in a Southern family and friends, and they're like, "Oh, you not eating our food? You don't want you don't want none of this? Oh, we're going to the restaurant. Oh, you don't want to eat?" Yeah, so no. I have some dietary changes that I have to make for me. And so when I started being consistent with it, everybody started to notice. They started to know. So now when I come around, they're like, "Oh, well, I got you, I got you this," or, "I took a little out for you," because they saw me being serious about the commitment for myself. So that consistency showed everyone what I was doing. So now, not only am I showing my family and my friends, but like I said, in the long run, me being consistent will be easy for me to translate to other workspaces or to my kids, or just anywhere I go. People will see me as authentically being consistent and showing up the way I said that I was for myself.
Yeah. I love that your family has been supportive in that. And congratulations on 22 days of 4 miles of walking. That's
Thank you.
That's really awesome. I feel inspired right now.
Again, consistency, pushing myself to a different place, because
Yeah.
I was already walking, so it's like I can't keep walking at the same pace, but that's another story for another time.
Definitely. So today we talked about generational wealth, and you have shared that it's about mind, body, and soul. We dove quite a bit into the nutrition pieces, so the body pieces specifically. But if our audience wants to learn more from you, whether it's around nutrition, whether it's around mental health, or any other aspects of generational wealth, where can they find you online?
Well, you can start at my website, she'sacreator.com, or I am on Facebook and Instagram as She's a Creator as well. And then I'm here on LinkedIn, newly She's a Creator. So I'm on all of those platforms.
We got our own
LinkedIn space.
Welcome to the space. Thank you for contributing to this conversation. I have really enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure those listening, whether they're team live or team replay, have also enjoyed the conversation. So I'm excited to return next week, next Thursday, same time, same place, where we're going to be talking to Draysher Whitfield. She is the marriage realtor, and Samitria knows Draysher because they're friends, kind of like besties. And Draysher is actually my long lost, newly found cousin. So she has a lot to share, and we're going to be talking about self-love as liberation. What you'll notice about a lot of these episodes is that we go back. Like, we try to see, like, where did all these things start? Like, in childhood, where did we pick up these habits or these beliefs? To try to talk through how folks have liberated themselves from those spaces based on what they've learned or experienced growing up as kids. But so excited to have that conversation. So grateful to have had you on the show tonight, Samitria, and so grateful that, of course, everyone who is listening live and who's going to listen on the replay. We'll see you again next week. Bye, everybody.